We're discussing what the Prime Minister is likely to prioritize when he meets with agriculture economists and, of course, experts on the agrarian economy on the 18th and 19th. Avik Saha, we've talked about protecting the farmers, whether it's by way of import tariffs or it's through crop insurance or it's through a higher MSP. Now, what is it that you would like to put on the table in terms of immediate intervention from the government?
On the front of hailstorm and the untimely rain in Maharashtra, the Prime Minister should be sitting with the insurance people. His fabled Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana is going to be tested now. It has failed in Tamil Nadu during last year's drought. That's the first thing. People are dying there. Crops have been destroyed. Now, on the other fronts, there is no policy intent. This distress is by design. And if you look at the actions that preceded the Prime Minister's meeting, the Finance Minister said that achieving MSP, making sure farmers get it, is a big issue, and that can only happen when there is market intervention. And he said that the Niti Aayog will look into this and see how the farmers can get MSP. And what does he do? If you look at the figures, he reduces the intervention fund from 950 crores to 200 crores. Integrated marketing is very important. What happens? 86 crores is slashed from that fund. So if you're reducing intervention funds, if you're reducing integration of market fronts, and you say you are deeply distressed and you want to change things and you're meeting experts and you will come up with solutions, is this believable? The actions don't match the words that are being sprouted all the time.
So you're saying that the action doesn't match the intent. But Mr. Saha, on the issue of MSP, sir, if I could just pick up on the point that we just heard there from both Mr. Alag as well as Mr. Siraj Hussain, if it is in fact 50% on A2 plus FL as opposed to 50% on C2, do you believe that that is going to be meaningful? Because Mr. Hussain was talking about an increase of about 22% on cotton, but 50% over A2 plus FL, how meaningful is it likely to be? And what would it mean in terms of an allocation? Because that's, again, something we don't have clarity on.
If we keep cotton aside for a moment, since we don't eat it, currently on wheat, on A2 plus FL, the farmer is already getting 112%. Much more, double of 50%. And they are still in deep distress. If A2 plus FL is going to be the cost, then there should be no farmer distress at all. So what Mr. Siraj has to understand is that A2 plus FL is a mind construct cost, not the real cost. If you don't give the real cost, and if you don't give a profit, whatever profit you want to give, but for God's sake, be truthful about the cost. If you're not going to admit the cost, all this discussion about profit over cost is just humbug.
Well, yes.
It's empty air.
Yeah, Mr. Saha,
on paddy, on A2 plus FL, really, farmers are getting 38%.
Oh, yes. And that's not the only point, because MSP is just one part of it. And the finance minister in his budget speech did say that we will compensate the farmers in MSP or any other mechanism. And I'm assuming that's going to be Bhavantar. But in the global markets, we haven't seen that sustained for too long as well. So, Mr. Hussain, what would you say? Is it going to be MSP? Is it going to be the differential price mechanism? Is it going to be direct transfer to farmers? Which one of these do you think will work the best? And is the PM really going to see clarity on this as well?
I do not know what the Prime Minister is going to do, but we have evaluated the Bhavantar Yojana of Madhya Pradesh, and I and Dr. Gulati wrote an article also. We are also writing a paper on that. We feel that the intervention of the kind Madhya Pradesh has undertaken is distorted due to various reasons: operations in the market, role of middlemen, etc., etc. And we have seen in Madhya Pradesh that it led to fall in prices in Madhya Pradesh, particularly of urad, as compared to even neighboring states of UP and Maharashtra. So in our view, the best possible course of action would be a direct transfer, which is being considered by Telangana. So we feel that will cause least distortion of the market, and it will give a choice to farmers depending on the rainfall, depending on his conditions, he can go for organic, not chemical, whatever. So in our view, a better option would be direct transfer.
Okay, direct transfer is what you're advocating there over the Bhavantar Yojana, which has been implemented by the Madhya Pradesh government. We're out of time, gentlemen, so I want to come to each one of you for closing comments. And Mr. Chengal Reddy, let me start by asking you, in order of priority, what should the focus now be? What is it that you would like as an outcome of this meeting that the Prime Minister has called?
The Prime Minister must understand the crises are very serious for political and otherwise. So there are two ways of looking at the problem. This MSP which was announced by Mr. Jaitley is not acceptable. We farmers are outright rejecting it, and there is going to be an agitation. Having said that, I am suggesting to the Prime Minister 3-4 methods where he can resolve some of the issues. Firstly, how do you reduce the cost of production? Mr. Prime Minister, I am asking you a very simple thing. Why don't you link Manrega with farming? Remove all the taxes on agriculture inputs like fertilizer, seed, pesticide, tractors. The third thing is get involved some private sector so that you see you can operationalize some of these remedial measures like you see this risk mitigation which we were now asking. See, look at that. You have opened bank accounts. There is a crop insurance, and here is a evaluation system through a remote sensing. Why don't you operationalize it through, not necessarily government, but then through mechanism? And then announce within a 15 days time APMC reforms. See, here is a simple thing. The Prime Minister, if he wants, there are a lot of administrative decisions Mr. Prime Minister can take and resolve. The second, of course, is the long-term policies, which I believe, I don't know, the whole problem here comes. There seems to be some real problem with Mr. Modi. Agriculture is not a culture. Mr. Modi, you must understand, agriculture is an enterprise. You see, he went to Israel, he went to Japan, he went to America. Do you know he was only talking about nuclear technology, defense technology, but he doesn't understand in these countries there are agriculture technologies. You see, Israel, you have a drought-tolerant genetics. So also in America, you have the best technologies. Why? You see, the whole problem comes, it's not that I want to criticize, but what we want to caution the Prime Minister is, look, Mr. Prime Minister, you and your government and the entire nation is in serious crisis because of your inability to understand the farm sector issues. But if you are sincere and genuine, please try to find the immediate solutions, which are mostly administrative. Don't put on these committees and say X, Y, Z. He can do it. You see, he can do it. See, this MSP business, yes. You see, this is not acceptable. Definitely, there's going to farmers are outright refusing. And as far as the procurement and other things, there are ways and means to resolve. Definitely, you see, where there is a will, there is a way out. That's all.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for your ideas and suggestions. Mr. Alag, in exactly a minute, sir, the ideas that you would like the Prime Minister to take forward.
The first thing is to ensure that the farmer gets credit. The problems that we have been facing since demonetization should be gotten over, and his access to the credit line must improve. The second is that the access to markets, and that is a question of aggregators, farmer-producer companies, because what is happening is we are only talking about grains, but a lot of the farming profits now are from pulses, well, pulses are grains, but also, you know, animal husbandry, milk, poultry, fruits, vegetables. And here the whole question of aggregators, access to markets, you see, you talk about it in the budget, but you are really not giving the credit, you are really not giving really the farm, even today, farmer-producer organizations find it very difficult to get credit from the banking system. Now, there, as it was pointed out earlier, if you really look at the budget details, there is very little to help. Now, these are the things which we want really the government to start thinking about the real problems that an agriculturist faces. You come into any village, go every fourth day to a village 40-50 kilometers from Ahmedabad, and you see these problems unfolding themselves. And the poor man, he's had bad weather now almost in Western India, almost for 3 crops. And there is nobody to hold his hand.
That's right.
We just keep on talking in the air.
Yes.
And, you know, the last minute
access
is not there to credit, to market.
We're hoping.
You take care of that, they'll take care of the rest.
Well, we are hoping...
I hope so too.
We're hoping that... we're hoping that we are at least taking forward a constructive dialogue and putting forward ideas on the table. A lot of this is stuff that the government already is acutely aware of. The question now is of follow-through action and implementation. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. We will check in with you post that meeting that the Prime Minister has on the decisions that the government does take on how to alleviate the pain that's facing rural India. But for now, from all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.